All right, we are back here, New Jersey Open here in Cream Ridge, New Jersey. We are about to watch the Russian Boston Red Legion take on LA Infamous. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Nick Slowiak from a resurgent Chicago Aftershock. They played absolutely awesome today. They destroyed Red Legion and won a very close game against Damage, and they are now sitting at 3-1, and we are going to wait for the paintball mathematicians to let us know exactly what the deal is as far as who's making it in. But honestly, regardless of whether or not you guys advance, I really got to say, awesome job today, Nick.
Thank you, Matty Marshall.
No problem.
Thank you for your kind words.
No problem. Because you know, if you sucked, I'd be like, it was terrible.
Yeah, and I'd be saying that as well.
Yeah,
like, I agree with you.
But you guys, I mean, you know, hey, you hadn't won a game. You took second in Cup, come out flat all year, not able to really perform at the level that you guys were used to, you know, in building your team up. And then now you come out and you guys are just on fire today. What's the difference? Or this event, really? I mean, you played great this event.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like, you know, we got really down on ourselves after the first two events. We kind of took a step back and looked at it and we're like, hey, a couple of these games are just 1 point differences, you know. There's the small things we have to work on that we have to lock up. We practiced a lot on those and focused a lot. We had some new leadership with Mike Bruno and having Damian Ryan back on the team, and just a lot more focused. And we only had one word on our vocabulary, which was win, and we have to do what we have to do, try to do what we have to do to win. And it's kind of showing, but it's still a long road we have to work our way down and work towards.
Well, we're about to watch Infamous and Boston Red Legion, two teams that, as we watch the Russians break out. Now, the Russians are 0-3. Who would have thought that would have happened? That was a very interesting turn of events. For
who called that on PP Pick'em?
Yeah. And on the flip side, Infamous, again, just training very, very hard to come into this event, and they've fallen flat as well. So in a game that we thought maybe would have been a make or break as to who was going to be advanced, is going to be hopefully an awesome game of paintball against two really good teams.
Yes.
But both these teams underperforming here.
That's true. And I mean, you look at this bracket with the teams that are in it and the Russians. I mean, yeah, no one would have predicted it, and everyone knew that Infamous was out here all week practicing, really grinding it out. And you know, Infamous is a team of great players. You know, and the Russians. I mean, there's not much you can say bad about the Russians. So with how things have shown progressed to this tournament these last 2 days, really surprising. But you can see the teams that showed up here and that won it, and the teams that, you know, are kind of maybe a little overconfident. And just playing sloppy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, though, I'm excited to watch this game because, well, A, it's Infamous and the Russians, but B, these guys got nothing to lose, man. This is all for pride at this point. Neither one of these teams are going to be advancing to Sunday. It's the last game of this tournament for them. So we're going to see what – I think this is a really good game to watch for the teams that could potentially move on, because now we're going to kind of maybe see some aggression stuff open up. We've already started to see things open up a little bit. You've seen some moves up the center, a little bit more dynamic things happening out there than the first day of play. That's how it works as these teams warm up and figure things out. But as it looks like the Russians are going to take this first point. But I'm looking for both these teams to kind of come out and try to make a statement, not really to the paintball world, but more for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. We know what it's like going 0-3, and then you're playing your last match, and you can't get your head down. You know, it's all on the line. You're playing for yourself. You're playing for your teammates, and it's not like you don't go out there with that same fire and intensity.
And at the end of the day, that is really all you're ever playing for. Because I'll tell you what, at the end of this road, at the end of your paintball career, when you look back, it's like, okay, what was my goal, and did I achieve it?
Exactly.
And then did I work as hard as I could and was there for the guys that went to battle with me? You know, I mean, because, there's money at stake, and, you know, you get to do really cool things like travel around the world and go to different places and meet new people, and you have fans, and that's all great and everything. But, you know, it's the guys that run your team you're going to be calling when you're, 55 years old.
Yeah, they're going to be your best men at your wedding.
Yes,
you know, they're going to be the guys you call later on the road. I mean, they're going to be there for the rest of your life, and these are the memories. I mean, all the time you sacrifice on the weekends and the flights, drinking stale coffee, displaying that fat wealth on the side of your neck to the confused stranger at the airport.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and yeah, they're the money in it. I mean, if you're playing out here for money right now, you shouldn't be playing.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and it really is, because it's, and you don't want to, and I think that's why I really am impressed by the gumption that you guys showed today and this event. Is that it's after talking to you last event, and we had you up here a lot and you did a great job for us as always, but I just sense this overwhelming frustration and kind of like didn't really know what the key was. It's like, what do we do? But that's okay. I mean, it's it's like you're fighting through these obstacles, and it's the will that's important, not knowing the way. You know, the way will present itself. You're going to hack the way with a machete, and you'll figure it out. You know, but the only way you're going to get there is if you have that will to actually take on that challenge.
Don't quit.
No, you don't quit. And I'm really impressed. And if there's Aftershock fans out there that are listening, you should be very proud of Chicago Aftershock in New Jersey this event, regardless of the outcome. All right, so here we go. You're looking at the Russians right now.
Dropping one quick off the break in the back center from the Russians.
Yeah, and now Infamous trying to make moves all over the place, but looks like they lose Marcelo off the break, and they still have 4 alive as John Richardson in that back center. And
Russians losing 2 now, 3.
Ooh, Russians coming off in droves right now. It just looks 2 players left alive for him, I think.
Yep.
And
could be 1.
Yeah, now here comes Infamous. Nicky Cuba up to the center, and no one's shooting at him, so he's just going to keep going. No one's stopping him. He's making it all the way into the backfield. Nice job by Nicky Cuba. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, no one's shooting at you.
Go. And especially on this field, man. I mean, with there being 2, in a sense, snake sides on either side. I mean, you can 1-2 punch this field. You know, people get turned around looking down the tape, especially with no coaching on the Dorito side, as everyone knows. Or if you don't know, there's no coaching on the pit side anymore this year. You can easily get down into these snakes and go all the way down. No one's shooting at you. There's no excuse for you not to go. I mean, play smart paintball, but I mean, we've been playing Infamous yesterday and watching them play the last 3 matches. Nicky Cuba, Bobby, those guys are definitely. It was Soya definitely taking advantage of going down the middle when no one's shooting at him and doing a lot of damage.
And Chris has always done that, man.
Yeah.
And Nicky Cuba too. All right, let's check out a highlight here. All right, that's the breakout here, and you're looking at the Russians. Look at that. No one on the snake side, on the spectator side of the field. Everyone is going to that strong snake side, which most teams consider that the strong side. Also, the center so crucial in this tournament so far, and it's been very effective. Look at this. Both teams really utilizing that center as Infamous loses one of their players, though, but hey, man, win the close points, and here comes Nicky Cuba coming up. Only 1 player left alive, not shooting at him, and he just, again, veteran player knows, hey, man, I'm going to take everything you're going to give me. If you're not going to turn your gun my way, well, I'm going to shoot you in the side.
Exactly. You got to turn the heat on.
So we got ourselves a 1-1 match. This probably is going to be one of those seesaw battles. 17:27 left on the clock. And we'll see if both of these teams can play penalty-free. Penalties have definitely, penalties have played a factor. Not as big of a factor as some other tournaments, but hey, man, the referees they're on top of it.
I think the penalties. You know what? They haven't thus far, but the teams that have gotten the penalties, say that the penalties we've gotten, Tampa Bay, the teams that have received the penalties have burned them off. They have. I mean, we did I'd say not to pat ourselves in the back, but we did a really good job of controlling. Our 4-on-5, we had a couple of those. I mean, first point today, we played against Damage. We got a major penalty, and we came back out 4-on-5 and did it. And Damage then got a major penalty, and they held us off for a minute and I think 13 seconds, and they burned their penalty. A lot of the teams out there, especially in this bracket, the penalties I've seen, they're getting to their spots and they're locking this field down.
Well, that's this field, and I really want to ask you about this field here in our next break. But look at this on the breakout here. Russians, you're looking at on your screen all the way out to the corner bunker.
Taking
over
some
here on the spectator side of the field, chopping up Nicky Cuba in the center.
And again, for Infamous, playing a little bit stronger over there in that pit side, the other snake side.
And in case you're just tuning in, snakes on both sides of the field for the first time ever. As the powers that be are trying to change things up a little bit. I think it's been made for a very interesting tournament.
Yes, sir.
Which is what I really want to pick your brain about here in a second. But now we're watching here. Fedorov is getting into the insert bunker behind Snake 1, and he is backed up by Sergey.
Infamous is losing another out of the center. Looks like they got just the corners left for Infamous.
Yeah, they lose John Richardson and Bobby Avilas pretty much at the same time. So, yeah, Nick, just like you were saying, just the back 2 corners. Let's see if they can cross it up. That old school cross it up.
And you could on this field, you can definitely do it. You can live for a while on this field.
We've seen some come from behind points. You guys had one of those. Yeah, it was you and
Damien.
And yeah, Damien.
Oh, baby, it felt so good.
Oh man, it was great. It was like 4-on-2. It was awesome.
Yeah, you definitely can do it. You just got to stay on your gun. This is a field where I'm carrying 9 pods every time I go out there.
Smart.
You have to carry paint. You're seeing teams too pick up paint. But Infamous definitely can pull this out. I think you got Wake maybe in the corner, and then Greg Sewers in the Dorito side. As long as they listen to their coaches and communicate, stay smart with their paint, you can easily pick up the Russians if they make some sloppy moves.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys get torn up trying to break that cross. In fact, Mishka from the Russians, he had, look at this, Wake runs out of bounds and wasn't able to get a shot in on Fedorov. That was a mental mistake by Wake. I don't know what he was doing there.
You don't try and run a player down on the side where there's coaching. when there's 2 guys in front of you, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I think what had happened was that maybe he looked over and saw he'd lost the sewers.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, man, I die going forward or I die in my bunker. So I don't want the man's way out. Nice.
That is Zach Wake's way.
Yeah, die going forward, absolutely. Let's say Shane Pestana used to always tell us when we first were getting on the team, and it was trying to make our way and, like, you know, become one of the named guys on the Ironman. And, you know, it's just like any young kid getting on the team and you're trying to prove yourself. And, you know, you don't want to make mistakes, so maybe you'll play a little bit more conservative. And he would always just be like, look, man, if you die in your bunker, that's terrible. But if you die going forward, I'll at least give you the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, you still died, but you're playing aggressive, and that's Ironman paintball. But that's also Aftershock paintball, and that's just good paintball in general, you know, is that I would rather see a guy dying going forward than dying out of his bunker, because at least that tells me he might learn something from that mistake. Yeah, he got shot, he got picked up on a lane, but maybe he just got clipped, or maybe it'd be like, oh, okay, well, that guy barely got me. If I just go my timing a little bit more crisp, that move will work out.
Yeah. And then I mean, it's just your mentality.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we've got the breakout from that last point here. Looking at the Russians, breaking out wide, both corners. Yeah, and you know, I'm noticing though, Nick, is that some guys aren't running and gunning out to this corner over here. Now looks like Wake's able to do
breakout.
it. Yeah, Wake is so technically proficient. He's very, very technically proficient. Looks
I don't
really
like
good at
him
what he does.
shooting inside right away.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to throw a stream back at the guy trying to get a shot on him. Or a player moving up the center, because the center's been such a big thing. And also, if I'm mentally going into this game, I'm thinking, okay, look, I'm going to, prepare myself for a bloody knuckles game. And also, I really am going to be considering moves up the center, because both these teams have nothing to lose. And we've already seen that probably the most effective aggressive move you can do is a move up the center. So somebody's got to put paint up the center. Somebody does. But yeah, I do agree. But that's the thing. That's the question, is that sending a guy out there seems a lot. Some guys haven't been running and gunning out to that back corner.
I'd say we do it. That's what we say. You have to
look
for the guy.
But
yeah,
exactly.
But I think you should, no matter what. I mean, you have to have your gun up everywhere you go on this field, and you have to have your head looking down the tape. I mean, you got to catch those moves. And say, look at Kuba getting shot going up the middle and getting drawing a minor penalty. We saw the same thing happen the last point on the other side. This time he got a penalty called on him for it. Looks like the Russians made all 5 of their spots. Guy up the center. Mishka filling up the insert bunker on the snake. Yeah, meanwhile, Infamous loses, Travis? And only have 2 bodies left?
Yeah.
3. They have a back Dorito corner.
Yeah, 2 though. Now 2. They just lose Marcelo, and Mishka just handling over here on the snake spectator side of the field. So it's all the Russians right now at this point is on that Nicky Cuba penalty. Really hurt.
No.
So Justin Short's trying to do something again. Hey, you're the last guy left alive. You got a choice. You either are you going to get bunkered, lose a gunfight, or die going forward.
And say on that Dorito side, the pit side, you definitely can make some sneaky moves with the coaching not being over there.
Yes,
so
yes.
I mean, it's hard to knock on a guy for doing that, especially JC.
Well,
Justin Schwartz.
And another thing too, JC, Justin Cornell, so many nicknames, LJ. But the thing is that I agree with that. I think that the guys that have been able to historically pull victory from the jaws of defeat and do things like run into guns, sometimes that, again, low percentage play, but hey, 1-on-4 is going to be a low percentage play no matter how you shake it. But the thing is that if I'm 3-on-1 or 2-on-1 or however, if you have that dominance on the numbers, I'm not expecting the guy to come running at me.
No.
So that's why that does work occasionally.
And if you're that one guy, you have to pick your battles. You can't just sit there and tweak out and go either side. You pick one battle and try and win it and work your way from there. And then on that side, if you can make that move up and get sneaky, you might be able to clip 2 guys pretty quickly.
Now this is
some facts.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of statistics. Red Legion and Infamous, they've played each other 9 times over the past 8 seasons, and Legion has beat Infamous 8 of the 9 matches by an average of about 5 points.
Wow.
So it's not really a good matchup. But it's really interesting that Legion is 0-3, because when you look at their win-loss record over time, I mean, it is just overwhelmingly, it's just amazing how effective they've been at winning games all the time. I mean, they're looking at a situation where they have won 78% of the time. They're 139-39.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. The next closest team is the Ironmen with 121 wins. And they're, you know,
how far back does that go?
To the very beginning.
To the very beginning. Where are we at? Where are we out there?
You guys are 43 and 57. Okay. You're 81 and 106.
Okay, I got some work to do.
You're young.
Yeah.
Time is long. All right, so on this next point here come the Russians all the way down the snake, and the craziness happening on the pit side of the field. Bobby Bills made a real dynamic move, able to take out one of the Russian players who had made it to the 50-yard line, but Fedorov able to polish off the rest of Infamous, and it's just been all Boston here past couple points.
Yeah, and that definitely was a good move by Bobby, but at that point, that guy had already been in there and chopped up the snakes out the spectator side of Infamous. Yeah, real dominant point by the Russians. The last 2 points, definitely can see them controlling the game very well. Getting kills on the break is big for them. They've gotten kills on the break these last 2 games, and they're getting to their spots alive, and it's huge on this field.
Kills on the break have been one of the stories of the day. Yeah, I thought that you guys did. That was the reason why you guys were able to take down damage. I felt is that it was a pretty crazy game, but you guys were really able to more effectively shoot them off the break than they were to you guys. And then against, you know, when you guys came out and played your next game, you couldn't really find that zone for a little bit, but then you found it again. You know, so is that something that you guys? I mean, of course, your lanes off the break is going to be a really big thing, but how much of importance did you guys place on that? Was that something like, hey, this is huge, you know?
We definitely said it was. We definitely focused on it. We definitely said it was huge, and we focused on it, say at practice and then during the games. And it's just a matter of going short and holding and shooting your lanes, but holding them. Holding them and then knowing your shot. I mean,
it's you got to do all the steps, not just the first one. All right, so we got a little bit of action from that last crazy point, and then boom, now you're looking at Bobby Villas. Bobby Villas, big move down the center of the field on the other angle, able to take out that Russian player, though. He gets picked up, but Fedorov was in that snake, can't see, is out of the frame, but still the Russians, you know, it's a great move by Bobby, but the rest of his team got shot out of the bunkers, so.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling when you make a move like that to clear a guy out and turn behind you and your whole team's dead.
Yeah, so Boston really making an effort to avoid the goose egg in the win column for this event here in New Jersey. Score is now 4-1, 13:53 on the clock. Again, in case you're just tuning in, I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Nick Sloviak from Resurgent Chicago Aftershock. They've gone 3-1 in this event, winning 3 games against in a bloodbath division, a very crazy division that saw a lot of the best teams in the league in it. You know, again, all these teams are pretty stout, but everyone knew that division. And honestly, you guys weren't in that division to start with. So
we should have been in the division to start with. But.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Start of this next point here. You're looking at the Russians. Heavy guns, 2 in that back center, and then Mishka dodging and weaving out of the way of a stream of paintballs. Well, Russian losing 1 body off the break. Let's see if Infamous can they lose Lasoya off the break. So 4 alive for both teams.
And Travis's drop.
Travis and JR are not having good events. Well, no one really on Infamous is playing well, and they haven't really been able to find their form. But it's just one of those things when you just can't quite get just keep grinding the gears, grinding the gears, grinding the gears. Yeah. They've been grinding the gears for 3.5 games.
That's not a good feeling. We've been there. You're just treading water, and it's definitely something they have to get together and talk and figure out what the issue is. But at this point, you know, like you said earlier, it's a game of pride. You're winning. You're trying to win for yourself and your team, and you don't want that goose egg.
And now here Mishka coming in, trying to hunt down Nicky Cuba and able to take him out. So Nicky Cuba trying to get in there, just do some sort of offensive action for Infamous, but not enough. And Justin Swartz gets polished off in the back corner, and wow, it's just been all Boston, all the Russians. Score going to be 5-1, and kind of an anticlimactic game so far.
Yeah, so the Russians they're shooting the guys on the break and they're winning the gunfights.
I feel like I'm watching that, you know, a 3rd and 4th place game where you're like,
like in Chicago.
Yeah.
Last event.
Where it's like you guys they've already checked out.
Yeah, but
the Russians haven't checked out.
No, not at all, and you'd say they won't. But I mean, what, 6-1? This could be one of the fastest games of the pro division. So hopefully, I mean, it's not over till it's over. There's still 12 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and Infamous just has to pull it together. They can key up, get some early kills in the break, and just control the game. They've got plenty of time on the clock to work with, and We'll just hopefully
yeah,
they
I
stay
mean, there's
focused.
a ton of time, like 12:30. That's 5 quick points from Boston. Got a highlight from that last match, and you're looking at this Nikki Cuba, Snake 1 for Infamous, bottom center of your screen, and here comes Mishka, smart move, ducks in there, and then Nikki sees that move, probably hears his coach, but comes right up into a string of paintballs. So nice job by Mishka, who's able to capitalize on that. You know, not really much of a mistake on Nikki's part. He just didn't really. There's not much you can do. You know.
No, there's a Russian player across the field shoot at it from the inside as well. And
yeah, and Mishka had a back player as well.
Yeah,
so.
Not a good feeling.
I mean, the only thing Nikki could have done is let Mishka take that spot, hope Justin picks him off, and live to fight another second or two. But
yeah,
they're losing bodies. It just wasn't looking good. All right, so looking at the score on your screen, it's Russia 5, Infamous 1.
5, okay.
And yeah, at least you know the Russians are starting to play more of their game. But the thing that I want to talk about you earlier is that you're looking at this field, and this is the first time we've seen a dual snake field. And I think that for a team like the Russians, where they've kind of have, I wouldn't say specialized players, they're all really good, but maybe that was what it was, you know? I mean, maybe coming in too confident, coming off that awesome win they had against Dynasty, or I don't know what it is.
Good point there, Matty.
I mean, I'm looking forward to get Justin up here, or maybe Matt Blonsky to try to explain this.
Yeah, I'd say with those two, I was surprised. I mean, they kept them together, which they're the two American players. They communicate very well in the field. But you have to have guys that are able to play both sides, and you know, Justin's on that far side, the pit side, playing that snake over there, and you rarely did you see a presence on the spectator side for the Russians in the snake. And for us, when we went to our game plan against them, we said, hey, that's one side. We're not going to let them have that. And we're going to push our guns on the pit side. We felt that was a stronger side for us, and shut them down a little bit. But, I mean, you think Russian Legion, you think Snake, you got Justin Rabikov. That's your name. And if it's not Justin, it's Matt Blonsky.
Yeah.
And then you look at Infamous. I mean, you've got Nikki Kuba as the first one over here on this side. And I think that might be Marcelo over there on the Dorito side for Infamous.
And I know Nikki. He's like my little brother, one of my best friends, and I don't know what happened in their pits, but you know, to see Nikki making this consistent moves over here in the snake, and now he's in there doing work, is that you know they've been having a lot of problems getting any sort of offense going, and maybe Nikki was like, you know what, I'll go over there, let me go, I'll make it in, and he's been making it in.
It's one of the greatest things about him since I've got to know him. Say when he played on Aftershock, watching him play back in the 10-man days, and then as he's come up through the Ironman and Infamous is. He will go anywhere and do anything, and you can't, you know, you can say to some guys, hey, you look a little too big to do that, but Nikki will go there, he'll step up, and he will take the reins, and he'll go, and case in point right now, he's in there.
Yeah, and doing work.
Yeah, and so now you're looking at Justin Rabikov in the Dorito corner, the pit side corner for the Russians, and they also have, they just dropped the snake corner. So we got a 4-on-1.
And it looks like the score is very soon going to be 5-2, as nice job by Nikki Cuba for Infamous in that snake. And also, it's like Zach Wake.
They got Wake, JR, and Greg Sewers.
So Infamous finally getting on the board again after a pretty stagnant middle part of the game.
Yeah, and I think they killed one Russian pretty much off the break and another one to follow. So, you know, hopefully they throw those same guys out there. They stay in their lanes, and, you know, they can try and turn it around. Again, say 10-24 in the game. They're only down by 3. Anything could happen. Yeah,
you know, and as I'm thinking about this, I'm just thinking about kind of how things are progressing and players, and you got a guy like JR, for instance. Like, this is probably be JR's last season. He keeps saying that every year. I heard that last year. And he's fit. He's actually a neighbor of mine down in San Diego, Pacific Beach, and I was driving down the street and saw him out jogging. You know, he's yoked and in probably the best shape of his life. So, but the problem is that this game takes so much toll on your joints over the years, and it's just that repetitive trauma of diving and playing off your knees, and especially back in the day, like he's been playing since the woodball days, when we we didn't get to play on these pristine grass fields like paintball has evolved to, and thank God for that. It's going to extend the life of a lot of these players. But I can't wait in 10 years to see how I feel. Yeah, but I think that you got Travis. I mean, Travis got 2 kids now, and successful businessman. And Soya's getting a little bit old. Is getting older, and they're still able to compete at this level. But it's like, how much longer do they want to do it? How much longer do they want to put that punishment on their bodies? They've already done everything they possibly could have done in the sport. So I think that in the next couple of years, you're really going to see this changing of the guard. And you've already seen a lot of the, like I had Eric Roberts. I mean, there's a lot of like historic, just Hall of Fame paintball players.
Yeah, it was cool seeing him here, man.
Yeah, it is cool.
Didn't
seeing
expect
him here.
that.
Yeah.
He flew here on a little two prop. Can I tell you that?
Really?
Yeah, he's him and someone from California. They flew here, landed in Kansas City.
Dave Youngblood?
Could have been Dave. I don't know. I haven't seen Dave here, but
Dave's definitely here. And Dave's a pilot, so
time out by somebody.
But yeah, Eric's moved on in his life. Firefighter now, doing firefighter paramedic. It's a great profession for him. Loves to just dive into the chaos.
Yes.
So it'd be perfect for him.
Well, definitely, you're going to see a definite change in Infamous in the next couple of years, if not this next year, or maybe even before World Cup. You never know. But the thing
hope not with that squad they got. I mean, I know this is a very disappointing event for them, especially if it was this game against Boston. But at the same time, with the talent they have, and it's kind of like where you guys were at. It's different. It's totally different because they have a lot more veterans, a lot more experience on their team. But to take a really bad loss when you're trying really hard is a very devastating thing to your ego. And I think that I'm just interested to see how that's going to affect Infamous. I would love to see them come back real strong at Cup, and maybe that be the definitive tournament for their team. So who knows? I mean, we could talk and argue both sides of that forever, but ultimately it's going to be what occurs in the heads of each one of those talented individuals, and where do they want to do? It's like how are they going to take this defeat? That's true.
I mean, you hit that right on the head. And the thing that I can hope for is that should JR, Travis, Rusty's still involved, those guys are great paintball players.
They're
okay,
amazing,
and
man.
Just the knowledge that they have, if they can bring on newer guys, they could be a huge force to be reckoned with. Because if you have Travis, you have Lasoya, you have JR on the sidelines coaching these younger kids, any younger kids around the team, with Sewers and Justin Rabakoff, man, I'm all backwards. With Justin Schwartz, Bobby, you have those guys with them. They bring in a couple new kids, kind of like Dynasty did this year. Or not new kids, but some experienced players.
Yeah.
They could be one heck of a fierce team next year.
They really could. Or and I mean, even with their current lineup, again, so talented. I don't know what the key is. I don't know the magical element, or I don't know what it is. I don't. Then they don't either. And I'm really interested to see what gut check is going to happen with them. All right. So on the breakout here, again, still 10 minutes on this clock, and we have ourselves a 3-point match. It's tons of time for Infamous to get back in this game.
And they get a quick kill on the Dorito side. Dropping one Russian player. It looks like the Russians are kind of stacked up in the middle. Not able to get out that quickly, except for the guy that got shot.
Yeah, and here comes some movement. Oh, Bobby Aville's getting shot, trying to get into that insert Dorito on the pit side of the field. Lasoya still alive over there, wrapping his gun around. You're looking at the Russians right now on your screen, and they are just pretty much, look at that. They're all on a knee. They're all gunned up, rolling their guns, and they know they got a lead, but with this much time and only 3 points of a lead, it's Chris just...
You know what? They're Infamous right now is taking too big of bites.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris could have went up the middle. Yeah.
It was an ill-timed move.
Yeah.
Ill-timed move. You got the Russians. You haven't really chopped them up yet. They've still got bodies and they got guns up. They know that they're in a zoo. It looks like it's seesaw back and forth. We'll see.
I'm only seeing 2 Russian players left alive right now.
And it looks like 3 Infamous.
Yeah, so I mean, they have to make smart moves when they move up the field, and they have to communicate. Say the 2 moves you saw earlier, and Travis drops over on the pit side for Infamous. So we got a 2-on-2 right now.
Oh, they lose JR. No, they lose
Travis.
Yeah, they lose Travis out of that 40-yard or 30-yard line insert Dorito on the pit side.
There's plenty of time left. And they're only down. They're down by 3, which with the time on the clock, they can definitely turn this around. They just have to play this smart and work together. And the Russians, we're talking about Infamous a lot, but the Russians, you can hear their coach yelling down there and from up here. And we'll see how this works out. We're almost mirrored in this situation.
Yeah, it looks like Brittany, he is in the insert 40-yard line. Dorito here, snake side, spectator side.
Tell me he's not looking for paint.
At the bottom right in the corner of your screen. No, I think he's got a bot on his back.
Okay, good.
Maybe a little inside joke for everyone that watched Chicago, or just endlessly harping on people running out of paint, which seemed to happen every single game.
On Sunday, everyone ran out of paint. And it was... Don't run out of paint, kids.
Yeah, just carry an extra pod, man.
Oh, Justin.
Doesn't weigh that much. Oh, and that's going to be a penalty.
That's it. Yeah.
An ill-timed penalty for Justin Schwartz, and you can just see Marcelo just in disappointment, shaking his head. at a point where it was 2-on-2, at anyone's point at that particular moment, and then Justin, I don't know what he's thinking.
Well, he'd say he got clipped in the pack, edging out, and he was running and shooting back towards the back center, and the ref was behind him calling him out. Maybe he didn't hear him. You know, he was zoned in. He definitely was rolling his gun. I didn't see any hit. It looked like he got clipped in the pack. So
yeah, but you know, when you got Justin's a vet now at this point, and when you're out in the middle of the open, wheeling, dealing, running cross field, and you're taking paint, like you got to have a little bit of body knowledge to. Now, yeah, hey man, if you got nicked in the pod, then yeah, you're not going to feel that. But still, you have to understand. I'm in a perilous position. I'm taking fire, and I need to take cover, check myself, let a ref check me, and then continue to play. Whereas he just was wiling out, draws the penalty.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, I mean, say he was definitely trying to win. He was in a situation where he had to. So, the refs made a call. Now they're gonna have to deal. The penalty comes off the clock.
Look at this though, Justin. He has his pack off, looking at it.
Yeah, he did. As soon as he came out of the box, he took his pack off and was talking to the refs about it. But
yeah, so he definitely didn't feel it.
A major penalty on the clock.
Really?
Or no?
Let's check this out right here.
Instant replay. I love it. Thank you, Pat.
So there it is. There's Justin Swartz, and yeah, you could see the spray coming off right there.
And it doesn't look like, I mean, you can see the ref calling him out, but Justin's looking downfield, and
the ref's like, yeah, I'm gonna call a penalty. Yeah, so it's tough. That's a tough call. I mean, if again, the only thing I really could say is that you as a player, if you know you're in that predicament where I'm out in the open, I'm taking fire, I'm shooting at somebody. He obviously didn't feel it. Now, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, penalties happen. That wasn't a bad penalty. It wasn't flagrant. Obviously, that's why it was a minor. But still, hey, what can you do? Especially when you're down points. Justin's a very aggressive player. He's always going to be looking for that move. So the Russians are 1 point away from taking this game. And you're looking at the Russians on the break out there, back corner, spectator side of the field.
An infamous drop and wake off the break, trying to make a big move out here on the snake side.
Oh, and immediately dropping Nicky Cuba as well, so it does not bode well here for Infamous as they have two stuck in that back center. No one on the spectator side, snake side of the field.
Russian Legion dropping one player over on the pit side.
Oh, and they lose Bobby as well. Bobby's screaming at the ref. Bobby's checking. No, he's clean.
Okay, he's clean.
He took a bounce off the face.
Wow.
Oh, and then he gets a shot in.
Nice shot, Bobby.
Nice job by Bobby to get a shot over here, snake side or spectator side. And Bobby's still rolling his gun over there, and Russians have now filled that spot.
Let's see if Infamous encountered over on the Doritos side. We got Rabikov making it the first snake knuckle.
And now the Russians have pretty good field position. They're not looking at a lot of bodies. Look for them just to take their shovels out and start digging those foxholes. No, look at this, Justin moving up the field.
Well, once you get up in that center part of that snake, I mean, you've got a lot of kills, and he gets in there and looks cross. As long as he has someone protecting him, JR's not going to be able to do much from this pit side. Oh wow, he clips Fedorov in the shoe.
Wow,
nice shot, JR.
Yeah, it was a good shot by JR. And now JR tried to pick up J-Rab, and here comes Bobby. He's going to try to bunker him out. He does, and gets shot in the process. And here comes JR running into a stream of paint. And
that would have been a one-on-one.
Yeah, it could have been a one-on-one. I would have played that a little bit slower, but JR thought he saw an opening and tried to take it, and so the last Russian player you can see trying to do the count here, and
I think that could be Bear.
I think that is Bear.
Yeah.
Bear from everybody knows Bear, HK Army, making his debut with the Russians. That's a big move for him, man. Congratulations to him for making that jump. Bear has been playing paintball for, since he was one of those kids, man. His father, Gio, runs Hollywood Sports, the biggest field out in the West Coast. And and Bear really, I remember when we were at practice, Bear was a kid, showing up, playing, and he's been in the grind since he was, not even 10.
Oh yeah, I can remember looking at some of my first die catalogs and seeing Bear, and then I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah,
like he's on the Ironman.
So congratulations to Russian Boston Red Legion taking down LA Infamous in a very disappointing event for both teams, as both of them underperforming from their normal level of play. But hey, Russians taking a win to keep that goose egg away. We got some action from that last point. So you're looking at, that's JR up over the top of his bunker, and you see Bobby making that move at the top left-hand portion of your screen. Nice cut inside. Very effective. Runs him down, takes him down, bunkers him out, and then JR off that chaos tries to streak down the field right on the edge of the sidelines and just ran into a string of paintballs.
Good job with Bear, knowing there's a player over there and keeping that lane cross field.
Yeah, so you can see the two teams coming out. They will be going home, but I'm really interested to see what happens with Infamous as they head into World Cup. Again, one of the most talented rosters out there, and the Russians as well, coming off that victory in Chicago. But coming at you, lots more paintball action next. Second half of the division this afternoon. And on behalf of Nick Sloviak, I'm Matty Marshall. We'll be right back at you. Do not go anywhere.